Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Man, this is gonna be fun. I've been looking forward to this video for many months, so I'm excited to present it to you today. I hope you have fun. By the way, if my voice sounds a little off, I'm fighting a little bit of a chest cold, so bear with me there. But today we are hopping on the Beatles hype bandwagon. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that the new and final, supposedly, Beatles song, Now and Then, has been released, not only streaming, but also on a variety of physical formats. Now, I have ordered my copy, and there's a lot of ways you can do it with 7-inch black records, 7-inch colored records, 12-inch black records, 12-inch color records, or the compilations, because they also have re-released the famous Red and Blue albums, this time with 3 records, not 2 records, and they're included there as well. But no CD single, and a lot of people seem to be a little bit upset about that. I have ordered mine, not going to receive it for a while, but in the meantime, as it's a great time to be a Beatles fan, I wanted to present this record player to you today. This is an exclusive Crosley Let It Be turntable. Now, Let It Be isn't really in the spotlight right now, but it's kind of had its re-release a couple of years ago. But the Let It Be album is arguably my top 1 or 2 favorite Beatles albums. I really latched on to these songs after I saw the Get Back documentary on Disney Plus by Peter Jackson, who also directed the new Now and Then music video. It's great if you haven't seen it. But this is a great album, and to coincide with that release of that film a couple of years ago on Disney Plus, Crosley partnered with Apple and to release an Let It Be edition turntable, which we're going to look at here today. By the way, I prefer the Let It Be naked version, sort of the stripped down MTV unplugged kind of sound. A little bit there's less Phil Spector stuff in there. It's more acoustic. Anyway, my friends, it's a long intro, but it's worth it because this is going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss this.
This is Record-ology.
Now, before we look at the Beatles Crosley Anthology record player, I want to talk for a minute about previous exclusive Beatles record players. This one by Crosley, this is the Yellow Submarine record player. And if you're interested to see more about this, definitely check out our video. It's a beautiful thing. It's been a bit of a workhorse for me, so it's not in immaculate condition, but it's very, very cool. But there's also been historic Beatles record players as well. Definitely a marketing product, but it's a very, very cool one. Now, this is a different record player than the previous one. I believe that was the Portfolio. This is based on the Anthology. Both of these are premium Crosley handhelds, or portables, I should say. They feature moving magnetic cartridges, adjustable counterbalances, all of that good stuff. Line outputs. They're just good record players. Let's go ahead and start by opening this up and see what we got. Okay, big reveal. Possibly, depending on how much cardboard and things we have here. We have this inset piece so you don't accidentally cut it when you're opening it. We've got this packet we'll look at in a minute, warranty card, and a notice here that we do have accessories in the side panel here, or in this piece of foam. So let me go ahead and lift everything out and we'll go from there. Okay, so as promised, another look here at the warranty card, and that's for the US and Canada. This is sort of a welcome card talking about the history of the company, and then the manual as well. In my experience, Crosley manuals are very adequate, and they show you what you need to know. Not an overabundance of information, but definitely the core things you need in a few different languages. This is indeed a bigger record player than the other one. This is much taller, I'm noticing right away. If we rotate it over here, you'll see a couple of accessories. There's a little notification there. Looks like we've got a an 1/8 inch to RCA, and we've got the power supply. It'll be a 12-volt power supply. All right, let's go ahead and take this off now. It's funny, when I started doing these unboxings, it was very, very popular to include the actual unboxing of unwrapping it and all this stuff. And the point is that it gives you the experience of buying or opening something without paying for it, because you can watch it and on a video. And what's funny is the other day I got a comment from somebody saying, "Why do you show the unpackaging? That's so boring." Which is kind of funny, because most people like that part. They want you to include that. In fact, if you just cut to it already open, they don't like that. All right, I am going to go give the bird some kind of snack or something, so we'll stop screeching in the background, and I'll be right back. Okay, the bird is appeased, and hopefully we are too. Let's go ahead and gently remove this protective plastic film and set it off to the side. And look at this thing. Yeah, it's a beast. It's a really chunky record player, much bigger than I thought it would be. I may not have reviewed one of these before, but we've got a metal grill here for speaker, and I'm assuming one on the other side as well. Not my favorite way to present stereo audio, because if it's firing out the sides, it doesn't really give you a good sound stage. So record players that have speakers placed like that are more like room filling. And yes, you're going to get left and right channels, but the kind of the stereo effect is it's too wide of a spread. And others may have different opinions about that, but I would actually rather have the speakers on the front, even though they're so close together at that point that you also don't get a super, it's almost like too narrow of a spread here and too wide of a spread if you do it there. Something to think about maybe in the future for designing these, a way to get good stereo separation, neither too wide nor too narrow. But anyway, regardless, that's the way it is. So the hardware on this thing looks pretty rugged. We've got a sort of a, I don't want to say Naga hide, but a fake vinyl material, just like the vinyl wrap here. Well, it's probably real vinyl, actually. Vinyl wrap here matches this, so it's a little bit pliable. That's not a hard plastic. We've got metal hardware in terms of the hinges, the buckle here, and the corner protects. Let's go ahead and rotate it around backwards. Let's see what we got on the back panel. So we've got an RCA output. The blinds are kind of making it hard to see some of the writing there, but you can see we've got R line out L. So right and left line output. Interesting way to label that. There's also an aux input, and then the 12-volt power supply that we talked about earlier. There are the back hinges. Again, hardware on these in my experience has been very good, actually. Nothing to see on the bottom. It's not really something that you could easily access any of the speed controls or anything without taking it apart. Obviously, that is not recommended. So hopefully we'll test it. Speed accuracy is good out of the box. Look at that. That is so cool. Let me get a better shot. Just an absolutely classic album cover. Very iconic. I've heard it stated before that having each of the four Beatles segmented into their own square represents that they really were beginning to separate all the way back as far as the White Album, from what I've heard. But certainly by this point, their distinct personalities and goals were perhaps starting to tear at the seams of the band as they were about ready to launch into their own individual careers, and the rest is history. But, I'm not a scholar by any means. I'm a newbie to all of this. It was the last Beatles album released and the second to last recorded before Abbey Road. Beautiful artwork. I love it. I think it's cool. I know it's just a picture on the back of the lid, but it's a very cool picture. So this is where the rubber meets the road here. What about the actual mechanism? This mechanism is sort of the step-up mechanism. So you see the Skywin ceramics on a lot of like cruisers and things like that. But really, sort of the bread and butter of Crosley portables nowadays are these stepped-up mechanisms. They do feature a small plastic platter. It is belt-driven. This one is shock-mounted, which is a good thing. But they now feature magnetic cartridges by Audio-Technica or Crosley's own magnetic cartridge that they put on there. This one features the Crosley magnetic cartridge, which we've featured in the past as well. Of course, you get a 45 adapter, which if you wanted to upgrade it, I happen to know about a very cool one. The limited edition Record-ology Ocean Blue series, still available for a limited time.
Have you ordered your official Record-ology 45 adapter yet? Check out the link in the video description below.
And then you've got this cartridge and tone arm setup. I want to show this to you. It's sort of based on a Philips design from the 60s with the elongated head shell. And I like it like maybe 7 out of 10. I like it because of the fact it is adjustable, so the counterbalance can be rotated in or out. Now keep in mind, lighter is not always better. The cartridge determines the tracking force required, so lighter is not necessarily better. Right down here you have the 3-speed selector switch and the auto stop on and off switch. So if you want the record player to stop playing at the end of the record, it's as easy as flipping that switch. So here is the selector switch. There are 3 positions, as you can see: phono, Bluetooth, and phono Bluetooth output. This will actually receive Bluetooth and act as a speaker for your phone, or this can send Bluetooth audio out to wireless headphones or speakers, whatever you want to do. So that is a very cool feature. Not fun to demonstrate on YouTube, so we're not going to demonstrate the Bluetooth in or out, but just know that it has that feature. What I want to demonstrate to you is what this thing sounds like in person. So we're not going to do a direct feed sound test. We are going to do an ambient in the room sound test with the speakers, so you can know what this portable sounds like. Obviously down here we have the on-off volume knob. We have a headphone jack. Okay, this is the Crosley proprietary moving magnet cartridge. It is not a 3600, but it should really do the trick for this level of record player with these speakers. And it is not upgradable in terms of the cartridge, but the stylus is imminently replaceable. So when that diamond tip eventually wears out, you can upgrade it. And it looks like George Harrison is happy about that in the background. Let's see what the tracking force is on this. Okay, tracking force is set to 2.17. I think that will be good for what we are doing. One thing I do not particularly care for with this mechanism design is there's no cueing lever, as you can see, so you have to lift it with the little lift shelf there. It's a little annoying to me. I don't prefer that design because I got shaky hands. I like to have a cueing lever. And by the way, speaking of cueing levers, a lot of people recently on our video about the U-turn were talking about the lack of cueing lever. However, I've made a little short video that you may want to check out about how to upgrade that. And that was a quick and easy fix. Let's go ahead and check out the speed consistency. This is a strobe warning, so if you're sensitive to flashing, strobing things, you may want to click out right now. We're going to be looking right here, and without further ado, 33 RPM. Marching a little bit to the left, so it is a hair fast. I don't think that that's going to be particularly audible, noticeably. Going up to 45, the next line above it, marginally fast. Again, wouldn't worry about it. Once the stylus hits the record, there's going to be some drag there anyway. And then 78 RPM, even a little closer at the top. So, but alas, it doesn't matter because we have a pitch adjust right on board. Therefore, you can lock in your speeds perfectly. For music today, we will be using a vinyl record by our friends at Vinyl Moon. This is volume 095. If you are interested, we have reviewed this on the show in the past. Again, I'm going to be using the speakers ambiently, and I like to do that with portables and things with built-in speakers because instead of listening to just a direct feed of the cartridge, I want to give you the experience of this unit in the room. What does it sound like? So we'll be using the stereo mics on board the camera for that in my studio here. It should do the trick. And then obviously I would love to play some Beatles music. You know why that may be a little difficult, but I might sneak in a little bit here in a little bit. We'll see what we can do. In the meantime, let's go ahead and spin this up and give it a listen.
Still the words feel so worthless if we both don't agree. Cold hallway between warm bodies on the lake of you. It was 2 days before we met.
Okay, you know what? It sounded pretty good. It was pretty warm. It was very mid-rangey, a little boxy, but overall it had good tonality. I felt like the highs were decently represented, good kind of mid to lower end. It's not going to blow your socks off. It was very adequately loud in a small room at 50% volume. So there's something to be said there. Obviously, if we had the auto stop selected, it would just auto stop when it got to the end. Okay, final thoughts on the Let It Be anthology record player. I like it. I think it's very, very cool. It's a portable. It's not like a super high fidelity turntable. It is a good quality, rugged record player, which is what it was designed to do. So it hits the mark. It's loud. It is non-damaging. It looks cool. It's got a variety of features that people may like, even with the Bluetooth in and out. The pitch control, which is essential for me. Obviously, the branding is on point. It looks very cool. There are only a finite amount of these that were made, so they won't be around forever. I'm thankful that I did get a hold of mine. I wish I had the Audio-Technica cartridge on mine. It's a bit better than the one, the Crosley branded one. This one is adequate, but the AT3600L with its carbon fiber cantilever is definitely my preference of the two. That being said, this still gets a thumbs up. I think it's cool. I would be curious to hear what you guys think. All right, my friends, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I think it's cool. It sounds good. It looks great. And if you're interested in one, I'll put a link down below. I want to hear from you. If you've ever had a Beatles record player, even going back into the 60s like we talked about, have you ever had an artist specialty record player? It's all marketing, it's all branding, but it's just for fun. You know what I mean? We're just having fun here. And they continue it to this day. I remember a couple of years ago, the Metallica Project turntable, and this year they're doing the Pink Floyd turntable exclusive, very expensive, you know. But this is a cool, good record player we looked at today. But most importantly, my friends, I just want to say thank you for all the support, all the wonderful comments, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful week. But that's going to do it for now. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.